Welcome back to Game Circle, and today we are going to talk about another classic series that has not seen a sequel in many years, the Twisted Metal series. Twisted Metal is a series of vehicular combat games created by David Jaffe and Scott Campbell. They have always been published by Sony but worked and developed by various companies. The game is set on the idea of a car destruction derby where the player goes through arenas as the last man standing is the winner. It was basically a battle royale with vehicles. The idea came about when the developers were stuck in traffic and thought about using weapons to destroy other vehicles. The first game was released back in 1995 and developed by SingleTrack. SingleTrack are the developers behind the first two Twisted Metal games, and they were also the ones behind another big game, Jet Moto. These first two games were a big hit, but after a contract dispute with SingleTrack, the Twisted Metal development duties were handed over to Sony's development team, 989 Studios. 989 Studios had to create their own game engine, which had introduced an advanced physics simulation and artificial intelligence. Their work on Twisted Metal proved to be a success, as Twisted Metal 3 sold over 1 million copies despite mixed reviews from the critics about levels and design. But then with the release of Twisted Metal 4, those things were improved. Then again, there was also mixed reviews, as even David Jaffe stated they're good games, they're just not good Twisted Metal games. Most of the original team from SingleTrack left the company and formed the Incognito Entertainment Gaming Studios and signed with Sony. Incognito Entertainment went on to create the next three games. The first of these games was Twisted Metal Black, released in 2001. This was the fifth installment of the series, and there was also an online version of the game that could be obtained free by mailing in a card that came packaged with the PlayStation 2 online network adapter. But in the case that you were not able to obtain it before Sony stopped offering the disc, they did also include a bonus disc in the Twisted Metal Black Greatest Hits Edition. The servers are of course shut down. Although they were supposed to have worked on the sequel to Twisted Metal Black, Incognito Entertainment worked and released Twisted Metal Small Brawl in 2001, which was released for the PlayStation 1 instead, and was aimed for younger audiences. It was a game about remote-controlled toy cars. And lastly, they released Twisted Metal Head-On in 2005 for the PSP or the PlayStation Portable. They decided to return to the roots of the first two games in the franchise and bring back the bright colors and cartoony characters. This was a great game and with great reviews. It also had a full online play already available without anything extra needed. It was considered to be the actual sequel to the original two games. David Jaffe and Scott Campbell formed a new development studio, Eat, Sleep, Play. And because of the success of Twisted Metal Head-On, they made a port of the game for the PlayStation 2. This game was called Twisted Metal Head-On Extra Twisted Edition, released in 2008. The game had many features, including levels to an unreleased Twisted Metal Black sequel. There was also a since-expired code that allowed you to download the soundtrack. It had a half-an-hour documentary named Dark Past from the original developers and live-action ending videos of all the Twisted Metal characters directed by David Jaffe. It even had a first-person shooter game for Sweet Tooth. In Valentine's Day 2012, Eat Sleep Play will go on to release the last game in the series, Twisted Metal. This was a reboot and the 8th installment made for the PlayStation 3. This game was also met well with the fans, and they were able to play it on the next generation of consoles. But even with that in mind, there has not been another installment since then. The last game was a PlayStation 4 version of Twisted Metal back in 2015. Now let's speak about the cancelled games. There was a sequel to PlayStation 2's Twisted Metal Black titled Twisted Metal Harbor City, and it was cancelled when the series co-creator left the development team. There were 4 levels that had been completed which were later available on Twisted Metal Head-On Extra Twisted Edition as a special mode. You can find and download the prototype for Harbor City in a link on the description where you can play it on a PlayStation 2 emulator. The next on the list is Twisted Metal Apocalypse. This was another cancelled game that would have had the characters faced off in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. The game was to have been released for the PlayStation 3, and even the concept art was shown by David Jaffe at the San Diego Comic-Con International. When later asked about this game, he stated that he could not remember why they cancelled it. And lastly, we have Twisted Metal Revolution. Revolution was yet another cancelled Twisted Metal game for the PlayStation 3. The game was described by David Jaffe to be compared to Rockstar's Midnight Club series as far as the look and feel of the game. This game would use hip-hop and street culture influence and included street gangs, the FBI, and even the Yakuza. The problem they had is that it was extremely difficult to portray the environments they had created in the concept art, as they ended up resulting in bland environments in the development. In the most recent news for the franchise, there is a live-action TV show series that is being developed by Sony Pictures Television and PlayStation Productions. Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, the writers behind Deadpool and Zombieland, are the ones working on this show, and it has been described as an action comedy series. Although no releasement date has been released, we do hope that this does not get cancelled, as bringing a TV series could completely change the future and bring back the game series to the next generation game consoles. If you have any ideas on which lost games or series we should do next, leave a comment on your thoughts, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this one at GameServe.